Welcome back to Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. Today I have a special guest. This is Miss Sharon Wright, and she is here to give you all some good information. She is a businesswoman, she's an educator, and the list can go on and on. I'm going to let her share some more of her accolades with you as well. So, guys, sit back and get ready. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I had to bring you back.
Okay.
I had to. So go ahead on and tell us a little bit more about yourself because I only kind of gave a little the short version, and then you can go on into all these wonderful things you're doing.
Okay. Well, like she said, my name is Sharon Wright, and I am an educator, a veteran educator. Been teaching since '95, and I've taught fourth through 12th grade, general ed, and special ed. So that's my career background. I am a blessed mother, a 25-year-old son, and then I have a small business called Homemade Creations. And with that business, I primarily focus on putting the hard part back in cards. So my cards are handcraft, and I allow my customers to be able to articulate how they really feel in my cards. So that's what makes that unique. I'm also, I guess, God has tasked me to be an inspirational leader. So I love to just inspire and encourage others to just, realize that we are enough as we are.
Mm.
And yet at the same time, it's always okay to work on ways to improve, to evolve, to be a better version of ourselves.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
All
that's who I
right.
am.
Well, sounds like you do have a lot. You're a very busy woman, but I am so happy to hear that you've identified your ministry. You actually know what your calling is. Not many of us have identified what it is that God has for us, and to
Mm-hmm.
know that you have the skill set, and not only that, the ability to reach others by affirmation. Absolutely letting people understand that they too can have whatever they want. They too can have a good life. But
Mm-hmm.
I want you to kind of tell me a little bit about what inspired you. I know we talked about some things last time. We won't go into that because they can always go back and hear your first one, because that'll keep them, listening. But I do want to kind of get into what really inspired you to even start your business.
Far as homemade creations, far as the greeting card part of it, um, that was something that was birthed at the age of 15. Just going, I'm a card person. I love to give cards and receive cards. And I was just kind of tired of hunting for the right card to say what I wanted to say. Um, I believe her name was Helen Steiner Rice, I believe. I used to like her cards. They was these little narrow, long cards, had a lot on it. And that was it still wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I really liked her wording. And so I would say at the age 15, I was like, one day I'm gonna have my own set of cards. And at the time, being a 15-year-old, I didn't really know what that looked like. I didn't know what that meant. But I just realized, people need an opportunity to, if they want to buy cars, have one to say what they needed to say.
Right, right.
So I guess you can say it started there. Having no idea, years later that it would actually come into fruition. So when I first initially started my business was probably 2004, somewhere between 2004 and 2005. And so um over the years and as I got older, I just started buying like Hallmark card making programs, any kind of those print all type of programs because I needed the artwork. So I would buy the programs, take all the wording out, and then put my own wording, but I would just have it like that. So I, for certain people, I started making cards and giving it to them because that way I can say what I wanted to say. And so Mother's Day, I was like, okay, I'm always giving my mom a card. I want to do something different. So I decided to take her card, the idea of the card, and put it inside of a picture frame.
Oh, wow.
And so I had pictures of me, like her children, grandchildren, and all of that. And so I asked my assistant I had at the time, I said, look, I came up with this for my mom. What you think? You think she'll like it? She's like, oh, girl, that's beautiful. She said, make me one. How much you charge?
That was it.
Like, I like charge. Girl,
It was birthed at that moment.
I'm charging that. And you got to, I know nothing about no business. I'll never forget. I charged $15. No, I ain't charging no 15 now, but I charge
Right,
$15.
right.
Cause plus I was using those little $3 cheap frames back then and stuff. And so it just kind of birthed from there. So then I was like, well, I make cards, I do this. So that's how it kind of started by me trying to create something unique for my mother, sharing it with someone. And then that birthed the business. But it was short lived for two reasons. One, I became a jack of many trades. I didn't stand my gift.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm trying to offer bookmarks. I'm trying to do all these
we
things.
often do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I realized financially and stuff, it just wasn't profitable. I couldn't be competitive with copying companies and stuff.
Right.
And so I realized stay within your gift.
Yeah.
The cards and the
Master
picture frame.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, just focus on that. But then no sooner than I started, this is, I'm aging myself. This is back when the library, you still had to pull them things out and go through and go down the aisles and look for books. So I just started self-educating myself about business, finding free business classes. And so I was getting myself ready, like, okay, I'm gonna get back out here. And I, for those who don't know, I had elderly parents. I was adopted when they was already in their 40s. So my whole business got delayed because I had my whole world changed upside down. So I had to start taking care of two elderly parents and a whole bunch of stuff. So that's how it all got birthed. And it got rebirthed in 2019, right before the COVID, because I was studying Proverbs 31 woman and I was praying to God because she was a resourceful woman. And so I'm like, what else can I do to bring, some extra income? And clear as day for those who believe, I heard in my spirit, rebirth your gift.
Rebirth your gift. I like
Mm-hmm.
I like that because a lot of times we get so bogged down, like you said, in because I too have done the same thing, or shall I say, I'm doing the same thing, and I think we had this conversation where I have to declutter because sometimes I have this organization going on. I have my talk show. I'm trying to get my do my podcast. I'm trying to get my talk shows back live. So it's just so much. Plus, I'm in school. I'm back in school again, and just trying to do all those things that you want. But I like the fact that you have to stop and focus on what's important, what the gift that God gave you. And because a lot of times we get away from that and start doing things we want to do opposed to doing what he has ordained us to do. And
Mm-hmm.
there are so many things that you're doing, but there is one particular thing that you have not had an opportunity to talk about, but I would love to hear about the shadow box. Because I know you have your cars and you got some other good things coming up other than the shadow box. Let's start with the shadow box and then you can go into your other thing.
Well, to be honest, Dr. Clark, I'm not actually doing those.
Oh, you start doing those. Oh my
I
goodness.
never really got started for real, for real.
Okay.
And for those who don't know what she's referring to, because I was, doing them picture frames. And through a networking event I went to, one of the individuals reached out to me and she wanted a picture frame, but she wanted it to be more of a shadow box type of picture frame. And I told her, I said, well, I don't do shadow boxes. I said, but I do picture frames. And I said, well, what kind are you talking about? So once we talked, I realized it was still like a frame, the kind she was talking about. But if anybody know with a shadow box frame, you have that depth. It's like it goes in. Whereas like a frame is flat, right? So you can't really put too much in there when you close it up. But with a shadow box, it's like this. So you can put stuff in. And so she wanted me to make one of her daughter who was deceased. It was a very powerful thing for me to create, and the fact that I was even chosen to be the one to do it. And she sent me 3 of her daughter braids that were in an envelope that she had never opened up.
Wow.
So I was tasked to be the first person to open up and touch her daughter's braids.
Wow.
So I put it together. I made a post, because it was just an exception
Right.
type of creation,
Mhm.
and went viral.
Wow.
10 less
I
than 10
know
seconds.
because you showed it to me. You don't have another sample of one
Mm,
anymore. But
mm-mm.
yeah,
I,
when
I
you
had
took
one.
the fall,
I had one other one that I did end up doing for someone for her son. And so sometimes that's something we have to think about too. Sometimes we have to be mindful, because sometimes we think that just
let's
because
go.
we're doing something, all of a sudden we think, oh, this is what I'm supposed to start doing. And that may not necessarily be the case. That
Right.
just might have been your assignment
Mhm.
at that time, and it's a one and done.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It was not
Right.
necessarily
Right.
meant to all of a
Nothing
sudden. Now
you
this,
want to start getting into. That was just something that was to really, really do for her, and I'm sure that was touching for her to have
mm-hmm,
a memorabilia to have of her daughter, and
mm-hmm,
that I loved it when you showed it to me. I loved it. But okay, so we're gonna get off of the shadow boxes, and they're no longer in existence. But you
mm-hmm.
have some other phenomenal things that you got going on that can really help us share that.
Okay. So the other thing is, last year I had finally birthed my Be Inspired collection. This is something I have been dreaming about, been writing about, been talking about. And I finally, just because last year my thing was just my did it year. So I decided to go back and say, okay, what is something that I can focus on this year and work towards and accomplish it? So as a result, what Dr. Clark is referring to is my journals. So I have 3 journals. They're on my website, homemadecreationsllc.com, and they're also on Amazon. And so I don't know if y'all can see this right here. So this is my very first one. And actually, when people know about them and I start spreading the word, this seems to be my top seller. So tag time is time alone with God. And so basically what it is a guided journal. And so each day when you be intentional with sitting down and studying his word, it just has some reflective questions.
You
It's
can
two
open it up. You
reflective.
can open it up, Sharon, because we were able to see the
I don't know if you could,
well, I can't
like,
see that one like you can. Oh, okay.
yeah, it's kind
Okay.
of like a
Yeah.
glare.
Yeah, I kind of see a little bit of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like some sentence starters.
Yeah, so it's actually, no, it's actually 2 questions, like,
Okay.
what are your thoughts after reading and meditating on God's word today? So what it does is allow you to be still. You ain't reading and then getting up, going brush your teeth, or whenever you try to decide to do it. So it allows you to be still, like really think about, what did his words say to me? And I
Right.
read his word today. What's coming to mind? You know what I'm saying? So it allows you to reflect on it, and then I'm asking you, how do you apply this verse to your life?
All right.
So based on what you learn, how can this become applicable for you and now? So it allows you to not read through it and then just move on. Okay, I'm done. I read John 14, whatever. Now let me move on. It's like, okay, I read John 14, 2 or whatever, and now I'm really
Want
sitting
to kind of
still.
want to write about how what it means to you.
Yeah,
How
dwell in
does
that.
it affect you? How's it effective in your life?
Yes. Uh-huh. And then I ask you to make a gratitude statement when you finish. And so it's meant everything. And I don't know what it is about 30 days, but I was just talking to someone the other day. I said, in my personal journey of developing as an individual and as a woman, as a child of God, something about 30 days for me. So what I've learned is, when I be intentional for 30 days, it becomes impactful for the rest of my life. They say it takes 21 days to develop a habit. From personal experience, I beg to differ. Sometimes I think it takes a little bit longer,
Mhm.
because we all are made different. So everybody in 21 days don't all of a sudden, sometimes it takes a little bit longer, and I want to put that in the atmosphere to know that it's okay,
Right.
because
And some
everybody's
people
different.
may be a little sooner. Like
Right,
you said,
exactly.
all is different. It goes back to your tolerance. It goes back to, your coping. It goes back to a lot of things that would allow you to either do it sooner or later or within the 21, or in the 21 days. So, but I
Yeah.
guess there's a number that was chosen to work with you. I think they kind of came from Alcoholic Anonymous or something. Uh,
Hmm.
but I like the fact that you're right. We're all different, and our struggle is different.
Yes. So for me, 30 days has been impactful for me. So that's how all my journals, the ones that have challenges in them, is like 30 days. So I feel like if you be intentional, and that's the key part about being intentional for 30 days of spending time with God, then you can find out for yourself what kind of relationship you develop with Him. And so when it's over with, it's up to you. Even if you don't do it every day, you'll still understand the importance of staying connected to Him, and hopefully you'll stay connected with Him every day. But if not, you'll see the importance of it. And I guarantee you, I feel in my spirits, you'll definitely do it more often
Right.
than not. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what this one is about for those who want to develop their relationship with God. Now, a
Tag,
question I get
tag.
asked,
What's that? Tag
huh?
time. Tag time.
Yes, tag time.
Tag
And I can't claim that. It was me studying, and I just been using the term ever since. I love that tag time, time alone with God. And a question people ask me is, do I provide the verses for you to study? No. If you read my narrative in the front, it's very important because I explain to you the approaches that I do. Because I just feel like your journey is your journey. So if you want to start from Genesis and work through, or maybe you heard about Exodus and you want to start reading Exodus, or you want to use resources like I do, Bible apps and devotional books. I also have devotional emails I get. And so I get them daily. And so it's a combination for me. And so I read the verses, listen to because if you're an audio person, then you want to do ones that's going to provide videos and people talking, you listen. So I use a multitude, but the verses I get for that day, that's my feed for that day. And then it's like I can reflect on that, praise God for that, talk to him during that time, etc. So, but our scriptures in it and prayers in it, yes. I'm an educator, so the educator would be did 7 days, then we're gonna pray scripture
Yeah,
another 7 days. So they're in there, but I just feel like your journey is still your journey. So
absolutely.
how you choose to approach his word is up to you. But if you read the beginning, I do, at least give you some guidance of how you can choose to approach it.
And not only that, I think it allows you to go back and reflect, like you said earlier. You can reflect. Let's see if you go back to day one, day three, and see where you are now, and how you have grown, and how the process has been for you. And it can allow you to become stronger and with God. And now you have something that you can physically go back and open up, and it might be something that will now, even after your 30 days, that you can go back and reflect upon a certain feeling, and
Mm-hmm.
start to read and say, you know what, let me go back and look and see what did I do when I was feeling like this, and then you just go back and you start to read, and you realize, wow, look how far I've come. Oh my goodness,
Mm-hmm.
look where I am now. Look at where I were. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. All right, the next one.
The next one is my gratitude journal. And so in this one, basically, I just ask you to write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. And then pick one of those things to elaborate on. Like, why are you saying that you're grateful for that? And it's up to you as your journal if you want to talk about all 3 of them. If not, just pick one. But the challenge of it is within these 30 days, I ask you not to repeat. And so that's where the challenge come in because it's easier said than done. But what it did for me when I did it was it allowed me to be in the presence of life. Because too often we be stuck on the past, even just yesterday. And then we already projecting yesterday to our future. And
Mhm.
we forget all about what's happening right here. You know what I'm saying? We still hurting, holding on to mishaps, pains, and stuff. We worried about tomorrow that's not even promised to us. but we missing all the blessings that we have right now in this moment. And
Live
so,
in the now.
yeah, and so that's what this does. And so, is a to me I've done it. It was a good experience, and it had both spending time with God and learning to practice gratitude has helped me navigate through life so much better. I am not emotional like I used to because I used to react because I was very emotional. I had anger issues that people didn't know I had, but glory be to God. So now I'm calm. I think things out and I respond. And I learn even more, even in the midst of certain things that used to have me just so outraged. I just think about it and I say, okay. And then find something that I can still thank God for.
Awesome.
You,
And
you know what I'm
speaking
saying?
of anxiety, people have so much anxiety, especially now after the pandemic. It's just been so much
Mm-hmm.
going on. And guys, look, open it again. We can kind of see it. Open up one more time. Look at this. You cannot beat it. See, day 23 of 30.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that's that one. And then the last one, and I have something new I'm gonna show you, but my last one is to inspire her. So this one's just a free, just write whatever your heart desires. But I put quotes and affirmations in there. So like this page right here, the quote for that, if you when you get to this page is rise above the storm and you will find the sunshine.
Okay.
And the thing about that, you just never know what somebody might be going through on the day that they pick it up and they on this page. So they might be going through something like, oh, you know what? Rise above the storm and you'll find the sunshine. So they say sun comes after the rain. And then the quote here says, the affirmation at the bottom says, I am committed to believing that the best is yet to come. So I did that intentionally. I put affirmations to align up with the quote. And so my prayers, when you read these things, it does inspire you to write. It inspires you to either just put down your feelings, put down your hopes, your dreams, whatever, but just inspires you to get it from in here, because too often we suppress feelings and emotions, good, bad, or indifferent. And
Yes.
so to get it
Right.
out on here. So that's what this one is about, Dr. Clark.
Awesome. God, if you don't order one of these or all of them, you're going to miss out on growth. Because one thing I do like about the fact that you said that I am no longer angry. I now can cope and handle that. I don't fly off the handle. I don't allow my emotions to take over my character. So to know that this allows you to be able to take a hold of whatever it is going on with you, and also
Mm-hmm.
to let go of some things that are maybe going on with you. I like the fact that you can choose whichever path you want. Are you the writer that you want, like you said, the freestyle where you just want to write out everything? But are you the
Mm-hmm.
one that just needs a little support? Because I truly believe that nothing is coincidental. I have a motivational app, and I
Mm-hmm.
promise you, I could be feeling some kind of a way, and that alert come over with the emotion quote, and it'll fit. That motivational quote will fit right with what I'm going through, what I'm experiencing at that time. And
Mm-hmm.
to know that when they open that book up, regardless to where you are in your life, it's going to apply somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing about life, we're going to live it, and we're going to have those struggles, and we're going to have those situations where that's why I love the prayer, the serenity prayer, because we have to know how to handle things when we can no longer control it.
That's right.
And to be able to know how to cope and how to control, then that's less work you've given God. You now know how to do some of that. And now then God can do the rest, the things that you can't handle. Instead
Mm-hmm.
of us trying to do it all, we sometimes want to handle it. We'll give it to God and we still want to handle it. But I like the fact that when you write that down, you no longer now have to deal with it. You've given it to God. Now you can move on to your next one,
Mm-hmm.
and you will
Mm-hmm.
actually grow. So tell us how we can buy these, And one more time, how they can get in contact with you if they want to. Guys, she also does vending. She's a vendor as well. So if you need her, and I guess Sharon, I was okay because I'm selling you now.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say I had two other things to show real
Oh
quick.
yes, yes, absolutely.
So these are my affirmation cards. So I also have a set of my own affirmation cards. So it's 30 cards in there. So this is kind of how they look. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
see now. Yes.
So these are how they look. So
Okay.
it's 30 in there. Huh?
Can you read one of them?
Yes. This one says I am resilient and I can overcome any challenges that come my way.
And we just got through talking about that. I just said that. See, I told you things. I truly believe that things happen for a reason. I just
Yeah.
said that, and you just read the card.
Yes. So it's important that we believe that. So when challenges do come, because they are gonna come, I always say life gonna be lifing.
It's gonna be
But to know that through it all, in the end, you're gonna always still be victorious. So that's something to speak over life over yourself. So I'm all about that positive energy, positive vibes. And like I tell people, that don't mean I'm always literally, I still experience all the emotions. I'm
oh,
human.
we're going to do that because we're human. We are
Right.
human.
But like you said,
It's
Dr. Clark,
learning,
coping. I have
yeah, learning
coping
how to cope.
mechanism and strategies in place to no longer stay there. Because we can't always control what happens, but we can control what we hold on to.
Absolutely.
That anger, that frustration, that pain, we choose to hold on to that. We don't have to keep making those choices.
Yeah.
So these I have, and I'm like really, really proud of these because I have always wanted to have my own set of affirmation cards and to really see this coming to fruition. It was a journey,
Mm-hmm.
but and so I plan to actually add 20 more cards to
Okay.
this stack by the end of the year.
Awesome. Awesome.
And then my last thing I'll share, because this is new, I'm excited, but this is just me doing me. But I've been talking to people and people saying, hey, I want to do this journey with you. So for me, starting March the 1st, I'm going to do, like I said, I have this my own personal thing, these 30-day challenges that I give myself of intentional self-love.
All right.
So for 30 days, I'm going to be intentional about doing things to show myself love. And so when I saw people were interested, I said, okay, well, let me create something that everybody can be a part. So I have now my new
That's
self-love reflection notebook.
okay.
And so
Awesome.
inside, this is a companion for your challenge.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so it has 30
Awesome.
days worth of challenges for you to do. And so it's set up so whenever you start, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to even start on March the
Whatever
1st,
day, any day.
whatever day. So up here, whatever month you start, if you start in the middle of one month and finish on the next month, wherever you start, you put that up here. And so you can either go in order or you can like pick and choose, but scratch them out. But each day, whatever you choose to do, like this, the very first one is write a letter to yourself, expressing gratitude and appreciation for who you are. When the last time you wrote a letter to yourself?
I know, right? Or
You know
if
what
you
I'm saying?
wrote one to yourself.
We don't give our, we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? We don't even celebrate ourselves. We're so busy focusing on everybody else that we forget about us. And sometimes you gotta be your own cheerleader. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's it.
Because
That's it.
sometimes you ain't gonna have nobody cheering for you but you.
Right. That's it.
So with the companion book, because I'm always about reflection, I just feel like reflection is so healthy and good for us. So whatever you choose, so if I choose this, then in my book I will put the date that I'm doing it, and then I'll just put down this was from on here. It was day 1, but maybe it's today, and I'm doing the one that's on here that says day 19, right? But this is the day I'm doing the activity from day 19, and then just reflect on it. Like, what act did you do? And so just what emotions did you evoke? What insights did you gain from doing this? And then once again, when it's over, you can go back and reflect on that. And I pray that when you be intentional, you'll be like, girl, I love you, boo. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. You can't. I always tell people you can't love anybody else more than you love yourself. Not even your children, because if you are not in a good place, how you going to show love for somebody else? You don't even know how to love yourself. So that is awesome. But
Yep.
please let us know, guys. You see all this great information here, all these great tools to help you be successful mentally and make you have good mental health, you know. So tell us how they can get it.
Okay, so you can go to my website, which is once again homemade creations, LLC.com. So there's no space in between. So that's my website, and you'll see on there it says Be Inspired Collection, and you can go to that page. My journals are also on Amazon, and you would probably have to like type my name in, like put in Sharon Wright journals, and then they should pop up. The only thing I would say is, of course, when you have a third party like that, of course, I see less of the profits. But if you order directly from my website, I see more of the
Okay, great. So
profits. And
guys,
then
make sure you order from her web.
this should be available on my prayers by Wednesday, because I'm actually trying to get it set up so it's digital. So you
Okay.
can just buy the digital version and then just download it and go from there. But for those who are like me, who still like hard copies a lot of times, these are available already. I already got copies made, but it'll be available digital, and you can have the hard copy. So
Awesome.
that's
Awesome.
how you can get in that. If you want to follow me, y'all, oh my God, you got to put this at the end of this YouTube our podcast. So my business is Homemade Creation 2019 on Instagram and Facebook. Homemade Creations 2019. My other social page is Shay's Dose of Inspiration. That's on IG. And then on TikTok, I actually got Miss Shay's closet. So
All right. Well, make sure you share all that with me so when I upload to YouTube channel, they have all
yes.
the information. All right.
Yeah.
Sharon, again, thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming
Thank you,
on.
Dr. Clark, for
Oh,
allowing me to come on here with you.
yeah. So, guys, you heard it here with Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. Please go and order from her. You will not regret it. Anytime
Yes.
that we can grow any kind of way, emotionally, educationally, closer to God, let's do it. All right. Thank you,
Yes.
Sharon. Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark.
All
Have
right. Bye bye, y'all.